The Michigan Wolverines are once again the champions of the Big Ten Conference. Final score yesterday in Indianapolis, 43-22, just absolutely throttling Purdue, and they handled business. Like, if you're a Michigan Wolverine fan, you went into that game expecting to get the result that you got. And so the mark of a competitively mature team is you win the games you're supposed to win. It's just funny the conversation is you're supposed to win the Big Ten title against an unranked team. Bottom line, did what you were supposed to do. And now the college football playoff awaits. By the time you're watching this, we probably already know where Michigan is going to be in regards to the college football playoff. But let's break down the Big Ten championship just a little bit, because I think there's some things to take away from it. The first is we saw yet again what we've come to expect from this Michigan team in the second half. The second half submission is what I like to call it. The weight just continues to weigh on you until the diaphragm collapses and your legs crumble and you just can no longer take the weight of this Michigan football team. They were only up by 1 point at half. It was 14-13. And J.J. McCarthy said it in his postgame interview this week, said it postgame last week, we're the best second half team in the country. And that's now their identity. It's been their identity all season long, but now a lot of the national types are getting to see this week in and week out in big time stages. Looking at the defense, I was impressed by the way they answered the call to action, because Aiden O'Connell, he's a dog, all right? Charlie Jones, Chuck Sizzle, as Gus Johnson likes to call him, he still had a game. And the stat sheet doesn't look phenomenal, doesn't look pretty by any stretch of the imagination, but the way they played in the second half against the pass, I was really impressed. Here's the thing, Will Johnson, he may be the most crucial piece to this Michigan team as they go on their college football playoff run. 2 crucial interceptions, his length, his size, his ball skills may make him a matchup solution for you against the other teams you may end up drawing in the college football playoff. Whether it's round 1, whether it's round 2, you will need a lockdown corner. And Will Johnson, only a freshman, still getting his feet under him. I'm not saying he's playing perfect, but the way that he answered the call to action in that second half, having 2 huge turnovers for that team, that's an enormous luxury to have on the outside. And again, the stat sheet doesn't look amazing on that side of the ball, but they did enough, obviously, to get it done, holding Purdue to just 22 points. It was a really good pass offense. Throw it a lot. They challenged them. They ended up answering the call in the second half. Donovan Edwards, MVP of the game, deservedly so. 185 yards on the night. A ton of those coming in the second half. Again, just chipping away. Those big boys up front, they move you against your will, which is an attitude thing, also a tempo thing. We've talked about it, but Donovan Edwards reaping the rewards last night. And I want to be careful how I make this next point, because Blake Corum is the unquestioned leader of that football team. He is the alpha dog. He is the bell cow. They did a lot of things last night because of what Blake Corum had laid the path for during this season. And something that I think is interesting, and again, that's why I want to tread lightly, as a running back, so much of what you do is getting into rhythm. And for Donovan Edwards now seeing all of the carries, I think obviously the motivation playing for Blake Corum is one thing behind him, and also being able to take the bulk of the carries allows him to wear on a team over the course of the game. As a running back, the more carries you get, the more you get in rhythm, the stronger you get, the more you can figure out what the defense is doing. And having to split carries, obviously it worked for Michigan. I'm not saying they're a better team without Blake Corum, but I am saying it may boost Donovan Edwards' game as he continues to see more and more carries. I hope I'm not being unclear on that. But Donovan Edwards, the way he ran last night, like a man possessed, continuing to show in the second half, he just gets stronger. This Michigan team gets stronger. And it feels like as an offense, we're starting to see the next phase of what they're capable of. Didn't need to throw it a ton last night. J.J. McCarthy, 11 for 17, 3 touchdowns, one bad interception. They'll coach that up. He still shows that he's young, he's growing, he's developing. But I think we're starting to see the tactical evolution of this offense's passing game. That throw he made to Ronnie Bell was an absolute dot. He did some things on the run that make you feel really good about what they can do going forward. Again, whoever they end up drawing, whether it's round 1, whether it's round 2 in the national championship, he is the guy that's going to be able to propel this offense forward. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I have from last night, because you won the Big Ten a season ago, but this is very much so not the same team that hoisted the trophy last year in Indy. Again, 8 new starters on defense, 2 new coordinators, voluntarily have a new starting quarterback. It worked. If you're Jim Harbaugh, every single thing that you bet on worked, including yourself, thinking you go take an NFL job and then coming back and not worrying about the culture that you had in place, the culture that you have. It worked. You bet on that and yet again come up winning. And I'll say this team, to my estimation, is better than what you had a season ago this time. Really quickly, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do so. We got content every single day. We got portal season, we got recruiting, we got the college football playoff and bowl season. You don't want to miss any of that. I promise you, you're subscribed. We're going to make sure you don't. Also, follow me on the social channels at JD Piquel on Twitter and on Instagram. A lot of interaction to be had there that we incorporate here. This is a better team than you saw a year ago. They're more multiple. They can beat you in different ways. They can play different style of fights. I think the defense plays better as a unit as opposed to just having star players. You didn't see Mike Morris last night, and the defense was still elite in every sense of the word. Now, when they get him back, I promise you they'll be better. J.J. McCarthy allows them more opportunities through the air. They continue to take that next step, which is dangerous for the rest of the college football world. Because here's the thing now for Michigan. You got back to where you wanted to get to. Like the whole goal was, okay, win the Big Ten title, beat Ohio State, all that. Like, yes, you have done all those things. And they understand, they fully expect to do more than that. Their job is not finished. So now it's a new season. First part of the season, phase one, that's complete. It is now a new season. To take that next step for Michigan, I understand you're the best second half team in the country. You know it. I promise you the majority of your opponents will know that. But the reality is, to win the national title, to accomplish that ultimate next goal, to finish the job, you will need two versions of that second half Michigan team, both in the first half and the second half. Because if you go into a game and you expect to kind of feel it out in the first half, not that Michigan does, but if you feel it out in the first half, you're going to end up taking a couple haymakers on the jaw. And as good as Michigan is in the second half, if they can do that in two halves, just imagine the kind of game that we're talking about in the national title game. Imagine the kind of prospect that presents to somebody like a Georgia, like a TCU, like an Ohio State, like an Alabama, like whoever they end up getting for Michigan. I don't think you can say enough good things about what they do in the second half. Got to string them together, though. So now you have that coaching point. They are undoubtedly, to this point in the year, a big dog in the college football landscape. That's unquestioned. They've dropped the mic on that. There's no more, will Michigan have any step back under J.J. McCarthy or year two? How are they going to respond? Like, that all is done. All that talking is done. They've checked that box emphatically. Now, the stage gets bigger. The lights get brighter. You got the college football playoff. Now's your chance to drop the mic on the entire country and prove that you are the best team in the country. Now's your chance. All that talk in the offseason is done. You silenced those guys. Now go and get your ultimate goal on the biggest stage. It's a new season for the Michigan Wolverines. It's just getting started. Get your popcorn ready. This has been The Hard Count. I'm JD Piquel. We appreciate you tuning in with us. Again, college football content every single day. A lot of other people kind of packing it up, getting ready to go on vacation, take some time off. Not us here, all right? We're college football all year round. Jack Terry lifting heavy. This is the People Show. This is your operation. So everything you know and love about college football, again, it happens here 365. We're going to keep the party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.